Welcome to High Ridge Church Online. Here at High Ridge, we are a family of churches, and our hope is to help people know God, find freedom, discover purpose, and make a difference. We have a lot of things going on at High Ridge Church. The best way for you to get the details you need for every event or ministry is on highridgechurch.com or by downloading the High Ridge app from the App Store or Google Play. You can also connect with us on any of our various social media platforms. If you have never joined us at one of our weekend services, we would love to have you. You can find directions and service times for each of our campuses online at highridgechurch.com. We encourage you to lean in with anticipation for what God is going to speak into your life. Thank you for joining us online today.
Hey everyone, good to see you in church today. If you're here for the second time and you were here for the first time last weekend, we missed you. So look forward to trying to have an opportunity to meet you and get to know you ASAP. So spiritual family, we were in Longview last weekend. So here are two things we love to do. We love to bless children. We love to try to get children adopted into Christian homes, and we love to bless churches. And we have helped and blessed 15 churches now. And on your behalf, last weekend, as the result of your generosity, Dawn and I took a check from High Ridge Church Fort Worth to High Ridge Church Longview for their building fund for $100,000. So take a look at this. It was a lot of fun. Now, two things. Leave that picture up for a second if you would. Two things. Number one, we caught Pastor Tim by surprise. Now, this is a miracle. For those of you that don't know him, the guy has eyes and ears everywhere. What he says is he has his people always watching and listening. And we caught him by surprise, and he started crying. So it was a good cry. And so right after this moment is happening, I said, well, brother, are you blessed? We're standing there on the platform. I said, are you blessed? He said, yeah, I'm really blessed. But I'd be even more blessed if you'd added another zero to that check. Typical Pastor Tim. All right, we're going to be in Psalm 63 today. I want to talk to you about the presence of God. I want to talk to you about something that is vitally important for you to be able to live a blessed and a successful life. This word came to me during fasting and prayer as we started the year. Now, for those that don't know that Dawn and I started as a couple 32 years ago, starting each year fasting and praying, because we wanted God to bless our marriage, because I was a terrible husband, she was an awesome wife, and we needed some help. I needed help. And we've been doing it for a number of years now and been inviting the church family to join us. And starting 2018, the word that God gave me was presence. I believe he told me, Jeff, I want you to love my presence more than ever before. So for those of you that would love to be a part of that, it starts January 6th, so just a little FYI if you want to save the date. It'll be every evening. The worship is awesome. The prayer times are awesome right here in the worship center, and anybody and everybody can participate. So I started digging into the presence of the Lord. So the title today is Practicing the Presence of God. I want to give you some insights about what happened with King David when he was fleeing from his son who was overthrowing the kingdom. His son started a coup attempt against his dad. And I want you to see how living in and rejoicing in the presence of God kept King David going. And in just a moment, after I help those of you that need to meet Jesus in your heart and be forgiven of your sins, after that moment, I want to encourage everybody to just join me in taking just a brief moment to practice the presence of God. It's going to be real easy. Everybody can do it. And I just want to ask you to start getting ready for the next 25 minutes to think about a new and fresh commitment to the presence of God. Commitment is so important that we make a commitment to practice the presence of God. I was reading this week and I read a funny story about a pig and a chicken that were walking down the road, and they walked past a church that was conducting a fundraiser. And so the pig got a great idea. He said, hey, let's make a contribution. The chicken said, all right, how about we offer him ham and eggs? The pig said, hey, hang on just a second. For you, that's just a contribution. For me, that's a total commitment. I want to ask you to think about making a commitment afresh and anew to the presence of God. See, here's what I believe. I believe that our commitments in life are often overshadowed by our pressures in life. I believe that quite often the practicing of the presence or setting aside just a little bit of time here and there to join the Lord in his presence is completely covered over and quenched by the pressures that are hitting our lives. Am I right? Is that a possibility for you? that the pressures just come in and drown out the presence of the Lord. For students, the pressure to perform, to do good in school and sports and activities, to be accepted, to be popular. For wives, the pressure to have your children do good and perform well, and to be able to be successful. For wives, there's a pressure in today's world to have a physique 20 or 30 years younger than your age, to try to remain beautiful. Huge pressure in our world today that can actually steal away the presence of God from your life. For husbands and dads, it's more about money, more things, more stuff, promotions, status. Look at me, look at how good I'm doing. And those pressures can easily quench the presence of the Lord in your life. They can easily come in and quench God's presence. So while life offers you pressure, God offers you his presence. I believe God is sitting in heaven today saying, come on, my child. Come on. Come to Daddy. Come and be with me. Come and sit with me. Walk with me and be in my presence. So let's take a look at how King David processed this in Psalm 63, about how he was able to dwell in the presence of God, even through great pressures, great difficulties. Psalm 63, follow along with me here in verse 1. Oh God, you are my God. Just want you to make a note of that. My God. He doesn't say, oh God, you're my wife's God, my parents' God, you're the God of my kids. No, you're my God. I earnestly search for you. My soul thirsts for you. My whole body longs for you in this parched and weary land where there's no water. Now, how can your whole body long for God? Well, King David is the master of demonstrating, is the one we learned from on how to worship. And he used his hands. He used his body. He couldn't help himself at times to just go, God, you're so good. He used his whole body to express his love for God and to enjoy the presence of the Lord. And that's why he says here, my body longs for your presence. Verse 2, I have seen you in your sanctuary and gazed upon your power and glory. What's he talking about here? He's talking about remembering moments when he touched God's presence in worship. How many of y'all love it that our church loves the presence of God in worship? How many of y'all, I enjoy that. Every week I look forward to, most of all, I look forward to coming into this room with you 4 times a day now, coming in and gathering because I know we're going to touch the presence of God in worship. I know we're going to lift our voices and magnify him. We're going to be able to enter into his presence and let him know that we love him with all of our being. I love that. Absolutely love it. And King David is reflecting back on those moments as he says, I remember your sanctuary. Your unfailing love is better than life itself. How I praise you. I will praise you as long as I live, lifting up my hands to you in prayer. This is one of the many verses why we encourage that, because something happens when you honor the greater one, puts you in a proper place in your life, when you recognize that you're the child and he's the father, and that you just need to say, here, Lord, here's my honor to you right now, and I'm doing it with my hands. David did that as a part of practicing the presence of God. You satisfy me more than the richest feast. I will praise you with songs of joy. I lie awake thinking of you, meditating on you through the night. Because you are my helper, I will sing for joy in the shadow of your wings. Now I want y'all to recognize something. He's in a barren land, it says. He's in the desert. For those of you that will get to go with us when we go to Israel in March of 2020, you'll see exactly what this looks like. It's just tough territory. Dry and barren and difficult. He's sleeping in a cave. He's sleeping on a mat on the floor of a rocky cave. And he's talking about rejoicing in the presence of the Lord while he's laying on his bed. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was on the run and my life was in danger and I was sleeping on a pad or a mat, a rug in a cave, I don't think I'd be rejoicing in the presence of God while lying on my bed. Can anybody else in here say that I love my bed? And that would be a hard place to be in, to love the presence of God and to worship God. But he chose to do so. You can make that choice as well. Yes. You can make the choice, let all the pressures of your life, all the stuff in your life that's getting on you and quenching the joy of the Lord in your life. You can make the choice to lay those aside, and you can make the choice to say, your presence, Lord, is where I need to be. Your presence, Lord, is where I want to be. So how to practice the presence of God. I want to give you two pointers, all right? So here's the first one. Have an active relationship with him. Have an active relationship with him. In the very beginning, he said, you are my God. You are my God. I want to encourage all of you to make that choice today if you haven't already. To make the choice to let the creator of the heavens and the earth be your personal God. If you haven't done that, I'd love to help you do that in just a moment. I'd love to help people meet the Lord in their heart and be forgiven of their sins. But many people have already made that choice, but it's not actually fleshing out in your day-by-day life. We're going to help you in just a second with that, as I talked about a second ago. My God, possessive. He is my God. I possess him and he possesses me. See, there's a vast difference about knowing about a person and actually knowing that person. Big difference. I know about Ted Cruz. I know about him. I know his dad's an evangelist. I know his wife was a missionary. I know about him, but I know Dawn Klingenberg. I know her really, really well. I know that she likes the temperature in the car to be somewhere between 72 and 76 degrees. And if the temperature in the car is above 76 degrees, I know what's going to happen. The blue button is going to get pushed until the air is really cold, and then the fan button is going to get pushed until it's on high. I know that if it's below 72 degrees in our car, I know that the red button is going to get pushed as far and as high as it can go, and the fan button is going to get pushed as far and as high. I know she doesn't like to sweat. I know she hates sweating. I know that she likes to go on walks. I know that she likes to have her feet massaged. How do I know? Because when we're sitting there watching something, when we're enjoying just a moment of time to sit and just talk about our days and rejoice, when her leg flops up on top of mine and her foot is right in front of me, I know what that means. That means my foot is available for you, honey, to do your thing. I know that she likes to go on walks. I just mentioned that. I know that she likes to walk with me and talk with me. I know that Jesus loves that too. Matter of fact, there's a song that says, oh, he walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me I am his own. And la da 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 da, none other has ever, what? Known. I better get that right. I better get that right. Listen, people, many of you have met God, but you don't know him. I mean, you've met him, you know about him, but do you know him? Is he your God? Do you love his presence? I want to give you the number one reason why I think people don't know God's presence, and it's simply this: hard times. I've been calling it pressures, but really it's hard times. Difficulties come along, and you think that you shouldn't have any difficulties in your life. Difficulties come along and you think, hey, wait a second, I'm a Christian. I'm in God's family now. This should not be happening to me. And quite often what happens following that moment is the enemy convinces you to distance yourself away from God's presence rather than to draw closer to his presence. Yeah. Quite often hard times cause this to happen. Never let the presence of a storm cause you to doubt the presence of your God. Somebody should say amen right there. Amen. Never let the presence of a storm quench your love for God's presence, because God's presence is where you need to be. Over and over and over again. His mercies are fresh and new every morning, not some mornings, every morning for those who call upon his name. Let's take a look at the second thing I suggest that you do today, and it's have a desire to pursue him. Have a desire to pursue him. So the first speaks to possession, my God. The second speaks to pursuit. I will search for you. I will search for God. Now, why does somebody who knows God and loves God, why does somebody who hears God like King David, written thousands of songs, knows God intimately and knows his presence, why would he say, but I still search for God? I still pursue God. Why would he say that? Well, look at me. Because he knew that was a blessed way to live. In spite of knowing God, he still wanted to go deeper. He still wanted to move deeper into the presence of God. It says search for you. The etymology there, or the word picture there, is of a donkey in the barren land of southern Israel trying to find something to eat, searching and looking for something to eat. Now, I've never seen a donkey looking for food. Perhaps some of you have, but I've seen deer and turkey looking for food. So let me tell you how it plays out. We live out in the country. We're actually in a little neighborhood kind of out in the country, and we back up to 300 acres that is just completely just rough and unfinished. And in that 300 acres are bobcats, coyotes. We've seen wild hog. Heard there's a panther that's tracking this area. Matter of fact, one of the High Ridge spiritual family here in Fort Worth was playing golf on Whitestone Golf Course, and the panther ran right across on the 17th hole, right across the green from one part of the woods to the other. And they couldn't get his phone out in time, but all the other guys saw, so 4 of them saw the panther, so it is true. But it hadn't been down in Aledo yet, in southern Benbrook area. But we have lots of deer and lots of turkey. So here's the point. I found out by watching deer jump over the barbed wire fence, I found out that they like birdseed. You're saying, what? Yes, they like birdseed. So when the birds eat the bird and the squirrels eat more than the birds do, off the bird feeder, they knock lots of it off on the ground, and the deer come over and they'll eat that to the dirt, eating that birdseed, millet and corn, and I think there's some sunflower seeds, and they love it. So I started buying extra bags at Tractor Supply. I started buying extra, and I would go just slice it with a knife, and I would hold it right at the top of the barbed wire fence, and I just pour it down the fence line, all the way down where we could see out and watch them come, and they would just like they could smell it. I think they've gotten used to hear the rustling of the bag, and they start running. The deer start running when they hear me rustling the bag, walking out of the back of the house. I love it. I've named them. There's Meanie, there's Wide Eyes, there's Whitey. He's a buck, but he just got hit by a car, so I'm laying beside the road. There's Muscles, and he's named that way because he's got it going on. There's Weird Horns. There's one that's got one side going one way and the other going that way. And anyway, I love them. And when they come searching for that birdseed, it is just entertaining. I've gotten the whole family, even my grandchildren. As soon as we say deer, they go running for the windows to look and to smear their little smudgy noses on the windows and look out and see the deer searching along and just searching after that birdseed. Well, King David is using that analogy as he saw donkeys searching for food out in the desert. He's using that analogy to tell people like you and me that we should love God that much that we're willing to do whatever it takes to search for and to find his presence. That we're as desperate for his presence as the deer is for birdseed in the Klingenberg's backyard. As desperate as a donkey is to find something to eat in the desert. You see, abundant life comes to us as we pursue God. Real life comes as we seek after God. Do you believe that today? That if you'll make the choice to move toward him, to be like a hungry animal in need of some food, if you'll make the choice to move toward him, that you'll be satisfied just like the king was as he was on the run out in the desert. You'll be satisfied in the presence of God. Friend, I can tell you I've experienced there's nothing like it. Nothing like it. But what keeps us from pursuing God? Here it is, complacency. Just not caring. So yeah, you told us a minute ago it's pressures. Yeah, that, but it's also just you not caring. Just thinking, catch up with you tomorrow, Lord. And tomorrow becomes a week and becomes a month and becomes a lifestyle. Catch up with you later, Lord. And the catch up doesn't happen. The time in God's presence doesn't happen. And I'm not here today to get on to you and make you feel bad. I'm here today to stir your faith. To help you to recognize that your God loves you more than anyone else does. And he wants to bless your life. And he knows that when you're near him, that's where blessing comes to your life. And he wants to draw you in today, friend. He wants to help you to recognize that even just 5 minutes quiet and still before your God, just 5 minutes where you're just listening to him will make a world of difference in your life and your marriage and your family and your job and the abundance of your life. Complacency is a killer. I want to encourage you to get rid of it today, to not let it hold on to your life. Complacency will quench life within you. David didn't pray, God, give me my palace back. He didn't pray, God, give me my kingdom back. He didn't pray, God, give me my wives back. Now, maybe he didn't pray that because one of them was a rascal. If you've read about David's wives, one of them was double and triple trouble. She was always trying to get with him. And don't ask me to explain the three wives thing. All I know is I've got one, and my hands are full. Because I got a lot of improvements that need to be made. Come on, with a little help there. Winston Churchill, everybody knows, the great leader of the United Kingdom, took him through World War II, and of course a lot of people hated him. So one time he's standing out on the sidewalk, just finished speech, and a lady walks up to him and said, "Sir, if I was your wife, I'd poison your drink." He looked right back at her and said, "Ma'am, if I was your husband, I might drink it." Wave, 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 wave. He didn't pray, "Lord, give me my palace back, my kingdom back, my wives back." He didn't pray that. What did he pray? "Lord, I seek you. I've got to have your presence. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh yearns for you. My whole body, God, yearns for you. Your love is better than life. Thus I will praise you. I will bless you. I will lift up my hands in your name." See, other things can satisfy, but they're not God. Friends and family can satisfy, but they're not God. Raises and promotions and more money can satisfy, but it is not God. It can't do for you what God can do for you. Just a still moment in his presence. Activities and hobbies can be fun, but they will not satisfy the depths of your soul. They cannot. Only God can. The plans of God are only revealed in the presence of God. And I want to stir you up today, friend, to something that I think will bless and strengthen your faith. Enjoying the presence of God. Living in the presence of God. Making the choice to walk with him and to talk with him and to listen to him and to just make the choice to rejoice in his goodness. Just curious to know, is there anybody in this service today that would say, God has been good to you? Come on, can somebody just give me a wave? God has been good to you. He's blessed your life. He's helped you. He's heard your prayers. And he still wants to be good to us. He still wants to bless us in his presence. So will you make the commitment? Will you make the choice? Will you make a fresh commitment to God's presence? And I pray your answer is yes. I pray that your answer and your desire is yes. Need for you, if you would, to shut off your devices and empty your hands. I want to ask you to join me in doing something in just a second. Really simple little thing that we're going to do to start this week off and to leave this worship service in the presence of God. But before we do, I'd like to ask everyone to bow your heads and close your eyes. I would like to